This episode is sponsored by the Home Inspector team. It seems like everywhere you look nowadays, you see new homes popping up all over the place like dandelions in the spring. You have to wonder how well those homes are being built with how fast they're building them. That's where the Home Inspector team comes in. With their new construction bundle, you can have every phase of your new construction home professionally inspected to make sure no mistakes are being made. First, they come out before the drywall is installed to make sure the construction and utility rough-ins are done properly, because once they are out of sight, they are out of mind. Before you move in, they ensure everything is functioning properly and provide essential information to help you maintain the home, safeguarding your family and your investment. And finally, just before the builder's warranty expires, they come in to make sure that everything is A-OK, and if it's not, they make sharing your inspection report with the builder a breeze. Scheduling an appointment with the Home Inspector team is super easy. I just did it myself. Just visit their website, thehomeinspector.team, to get an instant quote and to schedule the inspection at a time that works best for you. And don't forget to mention our podcast to receive a special discount. Now back to the show. If you're interested in supporting the podcast or want to support the podcast and also help grow your own business, head over to our Patreon now and secure your ad space. This episode of Down Home Dirt is brought to you by Zucchini Ink Signs and Design, helping small businesses with their printing marketing materials. You're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but first impressions are everything. So let Zucchini Ink help you make a great first impression. She has been captivating audiences for years with her wit and charm, straight from the networking floor to give you all the dirt. It's Dusta! Hi, y'all, and welcome to another exciting episode of Down Home Dirt, the show where we dive deep into the journey of entrepreneurship with the people who took the plunge and the ups and downs that come with it. I'm your host, Dusta. Hey, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Down Home Dirt. I'm so excited today because we have Susan Hart with the Resourceful Hart and creator of the Triangle Career Care Team group on Facebook, in addition to working on a warm line, plus performing as the famous Ms.Claus.
Hey!
Thank you for being with me today.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm all like, I've seen the work that you've been doing, and right on, perfect timing out there.
Oh,
So
thank you.
yeah, you got it going on, and I'm like, can I be on? Can I be on?
Which I really am glad that you wanted to come on, because you have an amazing Facebook group and I would love to share that with everyone, because finding
Sure.
good help is hard. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from and
Okay.
how long have you lived in the Triangle?
Well, I am Wisconsin born and bred. Go Packers. I'm not really a sports fan.
Go
I lived
sports.
in yeah, I lived in Oregon in the 90s when it was cool. And then I've been here for 24 years, which is amazing because I just turned 61 this past month, and I'm like, who who am I? Look at how cute I look when I was
Happy birthday.
little.
Oh, I
Um,
love your eyebrows.
yeah, I miss my big old eyebrows.
Are you of Italian descent?
No, Scottish, Irish, English, and German.
Oh, well, maybe
Yeah,
so. You look a lot like my daughter. When she was born, she's half Italian, and then I'm what you are. So that makes sense, actually.
yeah, yeah. And let's see. I don't know. I spent most of my life depressed and anxious, and so it's only been in the past few years that I don't know, things have opened up. And whether that's, I mean, I've worked hard to heal my heart, and um, I missed out on a lot of things in life, but I don't, I don't regret them, or like there's, I'm not like stuck by them, and I
Which
think
I'm
that's
glad that you
real
mentioned
cool.
that, because regret basically says that it means that we should have known better or something, or known a different way, but how would we? So that makes no sense. So I'm glad that you said that.
Right. And we were talking earlier about how, um, like, wow, I can't believe we're this old. I just never, I was so worried about depression and managing that, and missed out. I never married or had kids. I am looking for a single Santa. But yeah, I don't know now. I think I think my biggest motivation is just being kind and creating community. And I feel like social media and networking is a way to do that. And
Absolutely. So tell
that,
us about your group and how it all got started.
well, let's see. I was laid off from my job. Um, I was there 11 years, bought my townhome, and then 3 weeks later got laid off. So it was like, oh, it was a gut punch. But what was really interesting is like the morning after I was laid off, I'm laying in bed going, I think I can survive this, which, which is really like hopeful for me. It was a stressful job, and um it was hard for me, who's a former social worker, to kind of even fit in there. But I I don't know. I discovered networking. Stephen Elliott was the first networking event that I went to. I met this gentleman, Bob Fessler, who introduced me to networking with Nate, and then I got introduced to networking women of the Triangle, and then I started meeting people. And the more I met people, the more I enjoyed it, and also I figured out how to be helpful on social media. Like I have 21,000 points in networking women with of the Triangle, because for
Amazing.
8 years, because I want to help people, and I feel like it's my duty to share what I know and also to encourage people. And I think that instead of just, showing my glam shots, that it can be, um, it can be social media, and Facebook in particular, can be a real way of connecting people and connecting them with resources they may not even have known that they could be eligible for, um, or that all the resources. So it was so I'd been laid off in 2015. I was still kind of plugging along. um, took took classes, got some the North Carolina foreclosure prevention program, and tried to avail myself of things. I just didn't quite fit into the job world. Um, I did get my peer support certification, but then the dang pandemic came along, and that just made my heart ache. If you owned a restaurant, and here it was March of 2020, and that restaurant closed, you've owned that for 30 years, how on earth would you know how to job search?
You
it's daunting, and nobody really shares what's out there. And I really did. I cried for 2 weeks. People were like, has anybody seen Susan? It's not really like me to be off social media for a while, but the heart was just aching. And so out of my tears came that group, the Triangle Career Care Team, where I could share my the resources I knew, and also to encourage and support people. And it kept on growing. Currently, it's like 22,000. I'm sure that not all of them are active, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a need there. And if I have to share that Wake Tech has free classes, if I have to share that once every 2 months or something, somebody is going to get connected with that. And I really wish there were more more jobs posted, because I think there's a huge need. I had no idea that this group was going to grow and be around this long, but I'm still as passionate about it as ever. And I know it's funny. It's like I say, oh, I'm thinking about you all, which is a, who does that on Facebook? Like addresses everyone. I when people join, I'm like, okay, Kathy Smith, okay, Tina, Jones. I'm wishing you success. I'm wishing the same for myself, and it's become a really wonderful thing. I get a lot of positive feedback. yeah, I kind of, sometimes post some sad things that are going on around, the layoffs and stuff. And that's just,
It's very
ay,
informative though, and that's
yes,
good, and I'm glad that you're doing this, and I think that it's great that you have this group because that's a great resource for people who have jobs to post to go to and people looking, and there's really not a whole lot, like you said. So,
there's a lot of groups that are transactional, and I know I keep saying, keep engaged. And I love a lot of the groups out there, and a lot of them have been instrumental in creating this group. Like Networking Women of the Triangle has 55,000 people in it. I wanted to create the career group because we also have gentlemen that are looking for jobs. And I wanted to, I wanted to say, if you're looking for a job, make a post. Well, if you're not getting response, make a post again. Maybe add a picture that's a little personal. You just never know. Like I really do. I really, it does make my heart ache that there's so much going on in this area, and so many job losses. But the other thing is that this area in the Triangle in particular, and North Carolina in the larger, really has some good resources like Dress for Success, like the Wake Tech classes that are at no cost if you are unemployed, underemployed, or facing a layoff. And those are skills training. And sometimes, like Wake Tech will have scholarship programs. And whenever I find, I'm gonna post. And I really wish I was better at LinkedIn. I don't know, LinkedIn intimidates me still. So I know that I'm missing um, a whole sector of job search and stuff. But I'm trying. I'm
no,
trying.
I completely understand. Actually learned this just based on your group that LinkedIn is better for looking for jobs than Indeed because Indeed will allow people to post jobs that don't actually exist just to get applicants to make them look better, which makes no sense to me because like why waste your money? I used Indeed when I was looking for people and that's expensive.
Yeah. I think I used well, I've used Friends, and then I used to use the newspaper.
The newspaper.
And I'm like, there's so many things that I don't understand, but I don't have to know all the answers. Like what, we were talking about acronyms and stuff. It doesn't matter that I don't know. I'll ask a question when somebody makes a post. Well, what does that mean? And then other people will come in. I love the interaction. I love the way people are saying, I just come to the group for the encouragement. And I know I could be doing so much more. I don't call myself a career counselor. I'm not good at resumes. I'm not good at helping you with your interview skills, but I want to connect you with trusted people. So I'm always looking for that. Um, and I really do enjoy it. And yeah, I probably spend a lot of time on it. But I just, why not me? Why not me? If I've got the time and I've got the skills to encourage other people, I want to do more networking. I've gotten a little bit shy about that since the pandemic, but I want to have activities. I would love to have not necessarily a job fair, but a, like, get to know each other, sort of informal, maybe some headshots or something, events. But it is hard. Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that. My daughter is starting her photography business. She just
Oh,
started
nice.
doing our videography and she's looking for opportunities to do that. So maybe we should put together an event to where they can mingle, learn about other jobs, improve their skills, and not necessarily call it a job fair, but just, an employment educational networking event or something.
I remember I started, like, the first networking event I went to, North Hills Networking. like being so afraid and worried about I'm going to say the wrong thing. And of course I say the wrong thing sometimes, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It's about it's about getting to know other people and finding commonalities. And I know a lot of people and I want to get to know people. So I have like a not a cachet, like trusted people. Like I have a CPA that I absolutely trust and recommend, and there's counseling organizations, and I didn't know this gut was like such a led so much in my life. But that's what I want too. If I can meet trusted people and then lead other people to those trusted people, then that is, that's what's important to me. And
Being a resource for the community is very important because, as I've learned, I grew up in Florida, in Sarasota, and it's a really big city, and I never felt a sense of community. I never felt supported. I never felt like any of this. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying that I just didn't feel that way. And then I moved here, and it was an absolute turnaround for me. If it wasn't for the community here and the people willing to share information and network and all of, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So
right,
I think that's such an amazing thing that you want to be part of that too and create a nice community for people to go to for resources, for just positive environment, because the internet can be very negative, and having
right,
that positive area, especially when you are down on your luck and you're most vulnerable. I think that's
right,
amazing.
right. And I just, it's there's so much to be gained. Um, not necessarily, oh, I'm going to network and someone's just going to give me a job. That did happen once and it didn't work out very well. But I don't the I'll meet with someone and then we connect on a level. I think maybe there's one person that we didn't that didn't turn out to be super cool, but I get to know people, and then I know I can be a little bit corny sometimes, but when I meet people, they get into my heart,
I
and
love
I'll
that.
be driving along, and I'll be like, "Oh, Dusta, here's a person that you should talk to. Oh, and you should talk to my friend Mia. Um, at some point, I'll make sure you get a connection with her, because she's a good person that I've known for over 10, 15 years. Um, but I love that. I love, oh, you should talk to that. I like being the keyboard connector. You know, I'm older, my knees a little bit, you should see me walk down the steps. I look like I'm 2 years old. It's like the knees don't work as well as I'd like, but I can connect in different ways. And just, yeah, I don't know, just care and develop that community. And I didn't know I had this in me. I had no idea that I would be an influencer.
You
um
are, and you're very so when I'm in networking women of the triangle and I see somebody posting about a job, like 10, 15, sometimes 20 people go and they're like, no, you need to go join this group. Or if they ask for, resume help or whatever the situation may be in reference to a job, it's always your group that's being referred to. And
I
that's how I joined it.
and I had no idea, but it's like it's my heart. I don't know. I'll have to send you a picture of me wearing a big giant heart mascot. I don't know if you've ever seen that picture.
No.
But oddly, that was one of the things that kind of cracked me open too, is this silly giant heart mascot that gave me goosebumps. I do a lot of things by, like, by the goosebump factor. It's like that's my,
Ooh.
I know it's right. Like when my friend Justine, who's a princess, she told me, she goes, Susan, you should be Mrs. Claus. And as soon as she said that, I got the goosebumps. I went on Amazon, bought the outfit 2 days later, got it, put it on, and it, you know, you can't see the goosebumps, but it was this, um I don't know, like perfect match. Like, oh, I've been waiting around for that idea to make a difference. And it's, that this will be my third year. It's 115 days till Christmas, but it's so beautiful and fun, and I laugh, and I'm like, you don't grow up to be Mrs. Claus, but apparently I do.
So tell us about this Mrs. Claus. Like, where do you go and what do you do? I
Well,
mean, obviously you're Mrs.
I've
Claus,
done
but
some volunteer events, and some parties and stuff. It's just, what's really interesting is I've been to a couple of what do you call those, daycares, and the kids didn't really seem to mind that Santa wasn't there. And that was, I felt just as magical as Santa would have. I'm not a super big holiday person. I should probably not say that, but I mean, I don't have young kids. I don't, but I'd say the whole time that I am dressed as Mrs. Claus, it is the holiday for me. It's the joy on kids' faces, and this year I'm hoping to like go to more senior centers and things like that, because it's just such a beautiful thing to provide joy, and I really love that. And
you have a good heart.
yeah, yeah, that's my last name, Hart.
Oh, that makes sense. You're gonna have to send me the picture. Can we use it with your episode drops so people can
Oh,
recognize you in your
sure,
heart?
sure,
Perfect.
sure. Yeah, I don't know. I still struggle. I still struggle sometimes with, like, like we talked earlier. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm 61 years old. I've got to reinvent myself. I'm gonna have to find a way to make more income at some point. I do dog sitting and things like that. But sometimes a cat. One time a cat bit me. I was kind of scared of it. No, they're fine. But my cat misses me when I'm gone. But you got to do what you got to do, and I don't know. I keep trying to find ways to reinvent. I do work a part-time job on a warm line,
Let's
and
talk about that. Tell us about the
yeah,
warm line.
a warm line. So you've got a crisis line, which is a hotline like 988. Well, there's a lot of lonely people in North Carolina. And so they call in the warm line, and we talk and we provide support, not advice. I'm not a counselor. Um, I'm not, oh, Ann Landers. It's not like that or anything, but it's just a warm space. Goodness gracious, I've even sang, um, on some of the calls, and shared some jokes. Oh, uh, and also just was there if someone was upset. Someone hearing it's okay to cry is a huge deal, and it's okay to share what you're going through. It's really cool. It's really cool. There's a lot more older folks that are calling in, and I get that. I worry about isolation and the whole, like, the changes since the pandemic too. It seems that people are a little bit more um, insular, and sometimes I think that families and friends, they may not have the energy to be there for someone else, because we're trying to keep it together, and of course the economy and all these things. So I've been on the warm line for 3.5 years, and I really like it. And I used to be a social worker. Here's what I did as a social worker. I got my master's 35 years ago. I would work getting folks in home services, seniors and disabled folks. And then I'd go to work, cry about home, and then I'd go home and cry about work. It was like I'd get burnt out, and then I would work temp jobs. I would feel so lost until I got back into social work. I think that becoming a social worker, I decided when I was 17, I said, you know, I'm so depressed. I need a mission in life or I'm going to give up. And so that's why I did that so long. Now the things that I do are more with an open heart, and you know, not as not painful. Isn't that strange that it would be painful to do that work?
Yeah.
um, you know, because I felt I had to earn my right to exist. And you know, I'm the sixth of 10 kids, so you know,
Wow.
I'm sure it just had to do with, you know, being a little mousy as a kid, and you know, just yeah, and I just do what I can. My mom passed away 5 years ago. She had Alzheimer's. Can I share her letter that she shared with us kids before
Yeah,
her Alzheimer's got
absolutely.
bad? Um, she said, "Dear kids, spouses, grandchildren, great grandchildren, I love you all. Having you made life worth living. I'm happy now I'm with your father, who I've missed for so long. Take good care of your life and enjoy it. We'll all be together again with all the hearts. Uh,
Aw.
won't that be fun? All my love, mom, etc." And I think that that letter freed me up from, you know, whatever past hang-ups I was still hanging on to. Today is the anniversary of my father's death. He died he died 46 years ago, and he was when I was 15 and the youngest was 7. So, you know, yeah, grief and all that is
I am so
you know,
sorry.
it's a difficult thing. And I was just having that conversation yesterday about grief on the warm line with someone, and it's like, wow, we never could talk about that back in the 70s and 80s. It just, you know, it was more like shut down. So I'm a firm believer in you know, expressing it in whatever way helps you,
I've heard
because
a very interesting quote about grief, and it says, when you share your grief, it gets cut in half, but when you share your joy, it doubles.
oh really, more
So,
joy please.
no,
More
that's great. And you're absolutely
joy.
right. Like, nobody does talk about grief anymore. And having this warm line for people to just call in and get some kind of, I don't want to say confidence. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but comfort. That's the word I'm looking for.
Right, right.
You know,
To be heard. I think that's I mean, I think that's one of the most difficult things. Like when I was young and really depressed, I mean, I was thinking about suicide a lot. Like not actively, but like, oh, my life's not worth living. And I was like, wow, that's a really heavy thing. I almost think that sometimes like it's that secret that is so painful and so like, you know, so worrisome in the world, and to have someone share with it. I mean, yeah, it's nice to not think about that. There's a lot of people that still think about that, but having a place where they can call and get support, just because you think about that, you know, oh, life would be better with, you know, without me, doesn't mean that you're actively have a plan or anything like that. um, you know,
no, and
that's
I
why.
agree with that. I never thought that I was going to make it this far in life. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I started feeling depressed when I was 12. I have obviously some childhood trauma and abuse situations that I had to deal with, but like I just didn't think I was going to make it this far. And a lot of
Mhm.
people feel that way. And now I'm to the point where like I'm reaching 40 and I'm like, "Oh, well, I didn't think I was going to make it this far, so now I don't even know what I'm going to do. How do
Right,
I live?" You
right,
know? And it takes somebody to, and also reaching out to someone that's I want to say non-biased and who's not in the situation is a lot more
right,
helpful.
right. Yeah, confidential and just able to listen. You know, I wish I would have known about the warm line, you know, 30 years ago. I don't know. I don't even know when the movement started, but Promise Resource Network is the company that I work for. They're located in Charlotte, but I work from home. And it's I
That's
don't
amazing.
it's helped me grow too. I was actually very nervous about even starting on the warm line because I was like, what if I say the wrong thing? I'm like, shoot, Susan, of course you say the wrong thing. So doesn't everybody? You know, it's like,
Yeah,
there's no, it's about communication. And I think that I've definitely become a more compassionate person, which is awesome as well. Um,
it
yeah,
is.
it's
And
cool.
how would someone use, like, how would they get a hold of, not necessarily you, but someone in general to use the warm line? Is there a phone number that they call or?
There is a phone number, and it's statewide. It's 24/7, 1-855 Peers NC, which is 855-733-7762. Yes. Um, but it's I really enjoy working on it. It gives me I some purpose. I'm very purpose ridden. I don't know if that's the right
Driven.
word. Driven, yeah, ridden. I'm not sure what that means exactly,
It's
but
early on a Sunday.
yeah, I just I don't know. I do more of what gives me joy and connection. Like I said, the warm line. I'm always like looking on Facebook, in the groups and seeing if I can help. I mean, there's been a few times when I've snarked and I'm like, "Come on, Susan, that's not you," and deleted my post. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on politically in the world. We'll see what happens, but I'm like, I just want to do something, you know, that helps in my own small community. I'm not in fact, the reason I got the giant heart mascot that I used to wear was because I wasn't into protesting. I was in to be like a reminder of like love and connection, which I sound so mushy, but I kind of am.
No,
Yeah.
that's good. And I think that we need more of that, especially now with these wonderful trying times that we're all facing and how everything just keeps getting more and more wild out there.
Yeah. And I just, I yeah, there's so many people. Yeah, I know a lot of groups in the area. I'm like, oh, here's a group that can share about food resources, and here's a group that can share about this. If you know I the group the career care group is about job search, but if I find a resource that I've vetted and that I'm comfortable with, I'll share it. And you never know, how it might impact someone. I um I- I- when i when i first started that group, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna help for a little while. I just felt like it was like I had this burden of knowledge about so many things, and I was like, I must share them. And it was kind of like I had to do this in order to relieve my heart, which is I don't quite understand, but it was like, gosh, I have to do this. I have to do this. If I know things that people can benefit from, it's my duty as a human, to
Absolutely.
share.
One of
Yeah.
our guests, Melissa Overton, I love her so much. She talks about your burning bush moments and how you get these burning bush moments. They're just right there, and like you have to take advantage of it, and it's just like so obvious. So I feel that 100%.
And it's so interesting. I feel like, we were talking earlier about, like, I'm not sure what I should do about this group. I'm not sure about monetizing, and it's got to feel really right. And people are like, well, why don't you charge the the companies that post? Well, the problem is that there's not enough jobs being posted, so that doesn't feel right. And I'm trying to figure it out. I just lost my point. Darn it. Um
That's okay. It happens to the best of us. Sometimes I turn my head and the idea slips right out my ear, and I'm like, dang it.
Oh, I think now I think I've been re-railed instead of derailed, re-railed. Um, that I feel like things are still like in process. Like I'm like the idea of the of being Mrs. Claus was not anything I thought of. It just kind of went bam, it just kind of appeared. And so I am kind of trusting this process that I'll be able to figure it out. And I don't know, I'm 61. I'm kind of tired. So like as far as like becoming a nonprofit, I'm like, it just seems exhausting. But I will figure it out. I will find something, find my way, um, and make do. One thing that I am going to be, um, kind of a recipient of. I try to give a lot, and sometimes you wonder, like, when's my turn? Um, well, I'm getting in the next couple of months a program called Rebuilding Together, and they're going to
Ooh.
come to my house and fix some things um like my garden tub is too tall for me. I'm short. So they're going to convert that into a shower. And it was something that I had applied. At first I was going to apply for it 4 years ago when my AC went out because yeah, financially things are tight for
Yeah.
so many of us. And, at first I was like, no, I can't apply for that. That's just, I'm not worthy or whatever you say to yourself when you're like, oh, other people need it. And then I reapplied 2 years ago. And so it's going to be happening. I just have to sign the form and send it away. Um, but I'm really excited about that. And I said, I think also what I do is because I've received a lot of things and I may not be able to like support businesses by buying their products, but I can pay it forward and I can be, I was like, oh, rebuilding together, I'll make sure I do videos about what you do and I'll get you more, more what do you call them? Donations
Attention?
and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
No,
because
that's really great.
yeah,
I
because
love that.
I'm really excited about it, and yeah, there's home repairs, and I'll make sure I put that resource. I think I've posted in the networking group, or the career group that I'm one step closer, and I'm really excited because that will also help me stay at my home for as long as possible, and you know
It's a
while I'm
really good
figuring out.
resource.
Right,
And
right,
we'll attach that with the episode so that people can also find that too.
right.
You're just full of good information and resources, and I love
I
that.
just
So,
did I just hear you say I'm full of it? I am. Oh, speaking of which, let me tell you about AI. That's
okay,
that stuff scares me. And so far the only time I've used it is in fact I've got one for you. I've asked Chat GPT to create a rap about your podcast.
nice.
So, so I'll spare you. I don't think I don't know how to pull it. I kind of want to pull it up on here, but I'll I'll send it to you. Send it to you because it's pretty silly. I'm like, so what are you using Chat GPT for? I'm like, for humorous purposes. Um,
Honestly, it
you
is
know,
so funny. And I used it last year to like do a lot of my posts and stuff, and then I realized that they did not sound like me at all.
right,
So actually
right.
I had somebody email me or text me and they were like, "So you use an AI, huh?" And I was like, "Dang, you figured that out quick." But now you go on there and they have a lawyer, a therapist, like a business consultant on the chat GPT. Yeah.
Oh, really? I've never. I mean, I see my own therapist, but I'm like, I wonder
You
what I
know,
would
I'm
do
good
if
on the
I'd
AI part.
ask. I wonder how it would even answer those questions. But yeah, I feel a little bit of, very, very, very baby boomerish, or bloomerish, like I say I am. Um, but I am still interested. I try to network with young people. Young people. Now I really sound old, but I want to keep in the know of things, what's happening. I've been to a lot of what do you call them, BNI, but I don't quite gel with those
I
groups.
agree with you. I feel like when it comes to networking, you have to find people that you gel with. And I tried BNI and I ended up not liking it. And then here I am 4 years later, I tried it again. I'm not a good fit for that because it feels like, this is just me personally, it feels like I'm in high school again and I have assignments that are due. I have to be there at freaking 8 in the morning, things that I just cannot functionally do.
And they work really well for businesses,
Yes.
but when you are, I don't know what I am, maybe an outlier or what, but I'm like a creative funny person. I'm like, can we do a networking event where I show up in my um uh fairy godmother outfit and we just, be playful and stuff, you
I
know.
think we just became best friends because I'm the same way. So I chose a character to play whenever I was going out networking, and that
Oh,
character
really?
is Dusta, right?
Okay.
And so
Okay.
Dusta is, think like Alice from the Brady Bunch, okay? So I'm wearing my nice,
Nice.
1970s housekeeping outfit. I've got my red hair and I'm out there and I'm rapping about it. And
That
I
sounds like
want to be
Mrs. Roper. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. That's cool. And I would love that. I would love some just like freestyle networking. Here's what I want to do. And I will do this to you. I'm going to film this in slow motion for you. It's my heart. I what I do is I create, I started cutting out hearts like 2 years ago and I just haven't stopped. I send some away. I like mail some and then I bring some. I'm not babysitting anymore. I do really miss kids, but I'm a little bit slower. But it's a great way to like, I just call it like a shower of love. And
I
it's so
love that.
sweet. I'm like, I want like to be up in a ladder and we just pour a bucket of the paper heart so they're not going to hurt you. And then you film it in slow motion. It is the most like, it's such a simple, sweet thing that I'm like, where did this idea come from? So, yes,
Absolutely. And
yes,
I've noticed through doing this podcast that a majority of the entrepreneurs that I speak to are neurodivergent and they are more creative. And obviously, I'm going to be honest, I feel like that's a quality you have to have in order to be an entrepreneur because you can't just be the guy who's like machine, normal. And I just want to do like, it doesn't seem to work that way. You have to be creative because if you're not, then you can't pivot when something happens and you
yeah.
can't create new business and you have nothing to.
I'm not exactly sure. I'm like, am I an entrepreneur?
Well, the more I
I
talk to
don't
you, the more I find out
know.
about all the different things, the different adventures. You definitely have a lot of the characteristics.
I think I'm, like I said, intimidated. Shoot, I got the Resourceful Heart web page that I've been paying on. There's nothing on there because I get so like intimidated by things. It's so funny when I signed up for my business, like I had to have somebody walk through it with me because I was so nervous about it. Like, so I know that things are working out. I've never been so positive and hopeful. I also, did I tell you I was a mess?
You
Um,
mentioned it. You mentioned it.
yeah, yeah. I'm a bit of a yeah, sometimes I'm on I'm on the Facebook a little bit too much, but I'm trying to work on that because I also know that as I get older, I'm not doing myself any favors if I don't like, remove some of the stuff that just is collecting dust. Have you ever heard
Yeah.
about the buy nothing groups?
Yes.
They are so awesome. I have a great one in North Raleigh area. If I post things and not just go and say I want that. Um but yeah, I'm a work in progress for sure. Or is it process or
Nope, progress,
progress?
absolutely, because
Oh,
we all are, 100%.
yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find you on Facebook.
Okay. The group Triangle Career Care Team is on Facebook. It is a private group, so you do have to answer the membership questions. Me, I'm so like this. Where's my magnifying glass? I'm like I look at everybody's profiles. We do have a lot of what do you call it, moderators. I'm like, if you don't have a profile picture, you're not getting in. If I think there was somebody from New Zealand who posted, and I was like, nah, out. And the group has been really, really spam free, and I'm very diligent. We're very diligent about not having those weird job posts that promise, $1,200 a day doing blah blah blah. So it is on Facebook. I don't know, Susie Claus. I do have a Facebook page, but I haven't done anything with it, and that's okay. That's okay. So
That's good. I
yeah,
will link your Facebook with the episode so that everybody can find you and your Mrs. Claus thing that you do as well. I'm really
right.
excited about that. I think that's a really good thing. And you are currently looking for opportunities to be Mrs. Claus during the holiday season?
Yes, yes. I mean, as let's see. I think last year I put on the costume and with or the oh, it's not a costume. People are really intense about that. It's like the attire on
Mm.
in October and did some photo shots, like some selfies and stuff, and I love the pictures and I look so darn happy in it too. So it's good for my mental health. Um and yeah, so there's that. I also love to meet people. I'm trying to meet more people who do resumes and interviewing help. I want to make sure, and people that are hiring, whether they're doing what do you call those, apprenticeships and things like that. I want people to know what resources are out there. So I want to meet folks from not urban ministry. What's the other one? Step up ministry and those kinds of things. I've talked to Dorcas. I've talked to people, um, because I want to introduce them to the group. And I don't know. I have no idea what kind of future growth, but I love meeting people, and I could also use a little cheap fun.
No, totally agree. And another good resource for people looking for jobs is the Chamber of Commerce in the different areas.
I
I
think
know that.
you told me about that because I had never even thought about that. And
Oh,
there,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I wish there was more, more networking opportunities. Like I said, I'm the cheer person, but I'm not the organizer. So, that's always something that I'm looking to partner with people and making it fun, not a stressful thing. I love networking. I don't even like calling it networking. I just call it connecting, because you just never know, and you never know what pops in a person's head, and how you can help another person, and it's almost like an adventure.
It
And
is. I've
that's
met a lot of people doing networking. I've got a lot of information. It's also why
sure.
I started the podcast is because I'd go out and I'd network and I'd connect with these people. And cool, we're never going to do business together because maybe we're in two opposite, ends of the spectrum. But at the same time, you've helped me learn something, a skill, about a resource,
Right.
just in general.
And you
Or
never know. You just
yeah,
never know. It's like I feel like they get into my brain, my Rolodex, and I'm like, if you make an impression on me, not that sounds all highfalutin. I'm not trying to be, but if I have a good feeling about your heart, if I see you across the platforms in on Facebook. Yeah, I don't know how to do I don't really do Instagram and the other stuff because um but if I see you consistently being a good person, then I'm like, oh, I'm 10 times as likely to support you because your sincerity, and
Yes,
that's a good thing too. That's a good thing. So how
absolutely.
can I is there anything that I can help any way I can help you? I
Just
can
promoting
give
the yeah,
yeah.
just promoting the podcast, honestly, and making sure that, we make those connections with the resources. I've got a
Right.
lot. We'll talk afterwards. But I'm going to wrap this up and
Okay.
thank you again for coming on. I
My
appreciate that and
pleasure.
sharing your knowledge and everything that you've shared with us today. And we'll link all of your stuff at the end of the episode, or at the end of when it comes
Wonderful.
out. I'm going to edit that out. But thank you
Bye.
very much
And I
for
didn't
coming
say
on today.
anything. I didn't say anything inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yay!
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another
Oh,
exciting episode of Down Home Dirt, and we'll talk to you again next week with more resources.
yay!